Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monday edition of Recap with Rep Jess. Thank you all for tuning in, and those of you who watch later, welcome as well to the stream. As you all can see, I am in a different office today, and that is because I am in Harrisburg for session this week. We have voting session days. We have one today, and then we have Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Not much happened in Harrisburg today because it was a lot of organizational things. So it was making sure that all of our committees were reorganized with leadership and then making sure that everything was ready to go for the rest of the week. So that is what I've been up to. It should be much more interesting tomorrow when we'll have some heated debate over amendments on the House floor, and then Wednesday when we'll be voting, I believe, on a few bills for final passage. And of course, on Wednesday, you will hear all about that. So up next, we're going to have the Rep Jess rundown. So coming in at the number 1 spot, local elections are heating up, municipal, judicial, and more. So make sure that you are registered to vote. At the number 2 spot, a bipartisan group of new legislators, myself included, met with Governor Wolf last week. I urged him to consider the projects in our district that need funded, improvements to our broken unemployment system, and clearer communication and organization around this hot mess of a vaccine distribution process. The Wall of Shame Sedition Edition takes the number 3 spot, with a number of my Republican colleagues making the list. And most significantly, Congressman Scott Perry made the news this week for helping Trump's plot to oust the acting attorney general and prevent the AG from enforcing election law. At number 4, our first bill is ready to be introduced, requiring coverage of all prevention, testing, and treatment of COVID-19. And last but not least, the federal government and the PA Department of Health get an absolute thumbs down from me on our vaccine distribution process. You'll hear more on that later on from me. So to talk a little bit more about some updates on our bills here. And so our COVID-19 bill is ready to be introduced. I'll be picking up that final language and getting that ready to go this week. So that's exciting. On our special education funding bill, the attorneys are finishing the final draft on that. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. And there's a couple different bills that are coming up for a vote in the House this week. These are bills that I'm going to talk about a little bit here. A couple of them are around amendments to our state constitution. And a quick little bit of review for those of you who don't know. In order for us to amend our state constitution, a bill has to pass through our state legislature twice. It has to go through in 2 consecutive sessions, and then you all get to vote on it on a referendum. So these are things where if they pass in 2 consecutive sessions, you all could vote on them. So the first House Bill 14 is a joint resolution proposing an amendment to the Pennsylvania Constitution, providing for a 2-year window to file childhood sexual abuse civil suits in courts. And the second one is a joint resolution to the Constitution proposing 2 separate and distinct amendments. The first one would add race and ethnicity under the Declaration of Rights section, and the second would change the emergency declaration provision to ensure emergency declarations only last 21 days and need legislative approval to continue thereafter. So those are some of the big things that we'll be voting on this week. I'll be talking more about how that all goes down on Wednesday after we get a chance to vote on them, but I will be talking about those. Now let's have a little bit of an update about vaccines here. I have heard from many of you, and I'm very frustrated myself at the way the vaccine rollout is going for a couple different reasons. The communication about how exactly this is being organized has been abysmal. So let me break it down for you a little bit. So the federal government provides the vaccines and distributes them to the different locales. And what they haven't done is give any advance notice for how many vaccines they'll be giving any particular location. So in Allegheny County, we don't know how many people will be able to vaccinate next week because we don't know how many vaccines we'll actually have. As you can imagine, this makes scheduling in advance incredibly complicated. But on the other hand, communication and organization has been horrible on the state level. I don't understand why there isn't a centralized place where people can go to be sorted into what phase they're in and then be put on a wait list to get a text message, an email, or a phone call once an appointment is available. Some of you tuned in to the vaccine town hall that we had last week with folks from the Pennsylvania Department of Health. And I have to tell you all, I was unimpressed. I felt like we did not get any real answers, and I had some things to say about that. For those of you who didn't tune in, I'm going to play a quick clip and you can hear what all I had to say to them. Well, part of it. There was a lot, but I'll give you just this short clip. This is a huge burden on providers to keep answering all of these continual phone calls about vaccines if they don't actually have it. So that's a big concern. And second, the dots on the map are completely inaccessible, right? It is very difficult to use, whether you're using a computer or you're using a smartphone. It's difficult to interpret. I know that there is a list alphabetically that you can click into, which is still really difficult to navigate. It would be so much better if there was a list, even by county, just in alphabetical order for folks to be able to access. Again, I'm really concerned because if this is where we're going to have to continue to direct constituents, I keep hearing, I don't know how to interpret the map. I called 20 places and none of them actually had the vaccine. And I think about these poor workers at these places who have to keep telling desperate people in the middle of a public health crisis, no, I'm sorry, we don't have the vaccine. What are they supposed to continue to do? Because this is untenable. So that was a quick clip of me basically tearing a new one at our vaccine town hall into the Pennsylvania Department of Health, because like I said, it is unacceptable that there is not a centralized place where people can go, enter in their information, be sorted into a phase, and then be contacted when there is a vaccine available. That is what I am calling for, and I've communicated that to both the state and our local Department of Health to say we need a centralized place for folks to go to get information about what phase they're in, and someplace super easy to get on the list, on that wait list, to get a vaccine. So that's what I'm calling for because I'm frustrated. I know you all are frustrated, and I'm going to keep fighting for us because this is unacceptable. Okay, a few updates on the district. There's a couple different things. Here's one that I think is going to be really, really helpful for you all. I'm going to drop it into the chat. But as we continue during these winter months, I think, folks experience a lot of frustration when it comes to snow removal. And for most stuff, my office can't really help because almost everything is maintained by the municipalities. But I'm going to put a link into the chat here. There you are, you have it there. And here you can look up who owns the infrastructure. So who owns the road, who owns, anything else. And if it's something that's a state road, then definitely please reach out to my office. Let me know, this hasn't been cleared, or this is icy, or this is unsafe, and we can absolutely help with that. I want to remind folks too to make sure that if you are having issues with any state services, unemployment, any of those things, please give my office a call. Zip me an email, zip me a Facebook message, leave us a comment so that we can help you out with that. We are here for you. We are here to make sure that you are getting the state services that you need. So anytime you are having an issue, please reach out to us. One last other thing to note is I did sign on another communication with the governor calling for stricter regulations around methane and inspections on fracking wells to make sure, that we are fighting for an environment that is clean and safe for all of us and for safe working conditions for workers as well. So I signed on to that as well. Okay, that is all of the updates that I think I have for now. I gave you quite a bit of a rundown there. But if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to always reach out. And that was your recap with Rep